So, ladies and gentlemen, today I have a very, very special guest who's a master of this subject that I've been interested in for quite a while. And that is the subject of Vastu Shastra. And today I have Michael Mastro, who's going to show us the beauty of Vastu. So, welcome to KRSchannel.
Thank you so much, Kapilji. I've been watching you for a long time and a big fan, and so I'm honored to be part of your program.
Thank you so much. So, how did you get into this world of Vedic science and Vastu Shastra?
So in the late 60s, I was very fortunate to meet Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the Beatles guru.
Yes.
And, I was a young architect, and he asked me to design some meditation buildings in Rishikesh. And so I spent time there working with Vedic architects called Stapadis, and learned about the science at the foot of the master, so to speak. And then I was when I came back to the States, I was very fortunate to be on the design team for the first Microsoft building and some Boeing buildings, where I got to utilize this knowledge of Vastu. And so
wow.
Ever since then, I've been practicing Vastu, Jyotish, and Ayurveda, because they are sciences. They're very interconnected.
Yeah.
And I feel that just looking at astrology, or just looking at Vastu, or just looking at Ayurveda, you don't get the holistic approach to giving success for people. So I've been trying, for the last 40 years to do that. And many people ask me when I came back what you can do for rectification. And so there are people that believe in Vastu that believe rectification is not possible, but that's what I learned in India, and that's what I practice. I do lots of hotels, restaurants, and
wow. Yeah, see, that's interesting. I love that.
Yeah, so that's what I do, and it's all about energy anyway. So why wouldn't we be able to manipulate that energy at a very, very subtle level?
Okay. Yeah. So you were gonna have a presentation for us.
Sure. And I'll just kind of go through and don't hesitate to interrupt me at any point. So let me see now. I gotta move this guy over here. So you can see the screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, yeah. So basically what I was saying about the Vastu, Jyotish, and Ayurveda come from Atharvaveda, and that's the part of the Vedas is all about how to improve the quality of your life. And so very important to have some knowledge of these three Vedic sciences. And they're really all about balancing the five elements. Ayurveda is about balancing the five elements in your body, and Vastu takes that a step further to balance the five elements in the body of your body, the environment, as well as astrology. And basically what we do in Vastu, and same thing in Jyotish and astrology, is we identify where energy is getting stuck. And wherever that energy is getting stuck, it creates stress that can affect some aspect of your life, maybe your relationships, your health, or your finances, or any aspect like that. So, and we're gonna look at that very closely. So, 10,000-year-old science. We know it's at least 5,500 years old because they discovered an ancient city called Mohenjo in the Indus Valley region that's designed perfectly per Vastu, and we know it's 5,500 years old. So basically what we're doing in Vastu, if your audience doesn't remember anything else about Vastu, it's aligning your physical body and your environment to two forces of nature: the positive solar energy that comes from the east and the magnetic energy that comes from the north. And when you do this, you automatically balance the five elements in your environment. So there are 7 different ways that energy can get stuck and then create stress. One is alignment. So what I mean by that is I travel every other week somewhere in the US or Europe. And some places, just because of the topography and the way the water placement is, If you look on Google Maps at a house or a building, it's perpendicular to your computer, like in Manhattan.
Yeah.
All of the streets, they run northwest, northeast, southwest. They don't follow the grid, the longitudinal and latitudinal lines. So when you're not aligned to the earthly grid system, you don't get good support of nature. It affects your thinking, your decision making. But again, everything I'm talking about now can be rectified at a very subtle level. So that's one thing. And the other thing is placement of toilets and stoves, and all the different things in your home or office. And we're going to go into that in a minute about, what the best placement would be and how we correct placement when it's not correct. So for a quick example, Northeast is associated with water element. It's Ishanya, it's God's corner. It's where the confluence of the solar and the magnetic energy happen. So if you have a stove in the water element area, it's like burning money, basically, because water is about growth in your life, spiritual and material growth. And so that's how things can happen there. The third thing that affects stress or energy getting stuck is shape. So just imagine a stream or a river, and maybe there's a bend in that stream or river. What happens? Some of the water eddies, stagnates, and creates some pollution. Same thing happens in a house. When you don't have a rectangular shaped building, some of the energy gets stuck, and depending on where it gets stuck, it affects some aspect of your life or your business, like relationships, health, finances. We'll go into that in a minute as well. The other way energy can get blocked or leak out is, remember I said we're trying to get that positive solar and magnetic energy. So if the Northeast doesn't have windows or doors, like in lots of apartments, then you're not getting that financial, that health energy. So we have ways to attract that using yantras, which we'll explain in a minute. And then the other thing is, if you have lots of windows or doors on the south or the west area of your home or office, some of that finances leaks out and becomes expenses, unwanted expenses, unexpected expenses. So the slope of the land is another way energy can get stuck. If your land slopes up to the northeast and down to the southwest, so it's blocking the finances. And
Okay.
Clutter is common to feng shui. Feng shui comes from Vastu. Feng shui is about 2,500 years old, and Vastu, about 2,500 years ago, Buddhist monks took the knowledge of Vastu over the mountains from India to China and adapted it to the local cultural and climatic conditions of the time, and it became known as feng shui. So clutter is common to Vastu and feng shui. Anything that's not organized, that you haven't used in years, that might benefit somebody else, that holds stress. And if it's in like your attic, it's blocking the future. If it's in the basement, it's holding you in the past. If it's in the northeast, it's blocking finances, etc. So the last thing that affects our stress is more common to modern times, but in the Vedas, they talked about earth energies, underground streams, underground channels, fault lines, etc. Those affect, they can drain energy in a house or, affect your immune system. But in modern times, especially EMFs, we all use routers in our house, so we don't have to plug in anymore. It's so much more convenient. We all have our cell phones. A lot of times we keep it next to our bed. All of this affects our immune system. Some people are more sensitive than others. So Vastu gives us a way to protect us from that EMFs. Lots of microwave towers and all over, and those are affecting us. So how can we affect us? How can we help ourselves? Mm-hmm. So now I want to talk about the integration of Vastu and astrology and Ayurveda. So your floor plan is very related to your astrology, and it looks like I spelled astrology, and your doshas, your dosha type. And so as we change dasha periods, lots of times we are attracted to new residential apartments or office floor plans that support what we need to learn. You know, when we go into a new dasha period or we leave an old dasha period, we're learning certain things. And so we pick environments that support that learning. And so Vastu, astrology, and Ayurveda give us remedies to overcome some of those challenges that we're facing. And over the past 40 years of doing Vastu and astrology and Ayurveda, I've noted following correlations in this next chart we're going to look at. And we actually did a double-blind study with Dr. Kulreet Chowdhury, who's a famous neurologist, and presented it on Dr. Oz, some of these findings. But here's the chart where we can go. Can you see this okay, or do I need to make it full screen?
No, I can see it okay, yeah.
You can see the words and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of briefly go through this, and any questions that come up, don't hesitate to ask. But basically, how Vastu intersects with astrology and Ayurveda is each direction is associated with a planet. And so, you know, like for example, in the Northwest is associated with the air element, movement, and it's a good place to place in your house, the northwest area of your house. If you divided your house into a tic-tac-toe, it's a good place for guests to be, especially if you don't want them to stay very long, because there's a lot of movement there.
Okay.
And also in lots of Indian households,
that's the mother-in-law guest room.
yeah, exactly. And also, if the daughter's not getting pregnant, not conceiving, they would place the daughter-in-law and the new husband in that northwest area, because things happen more quickly there.
Okay.
So that's a good place for that. And you know, it's okay place for kids as well, you know, no problem.
I had a question before you move. The way we look at this chart, am I looking at it when I enter my home and I put this chart, or am I looking at it from the back side of the home towards the entrance of the house? Okay.
So good question. This chart is oriented with north being at the top of my computer screen. So north, northwest, northeast, and then, you know, so it's oriented towards true north.
The true north. Okay, not like, because I know how we look at different sections by the actual entrance of the house would be a certain direction and element versus what this is. So this is actually pertaining to the north. Okay.
Yes. But your question is very valid, because I get asked every day by people all over the world, how do I know which direction my house is facing? Because that's very important.
Yeah.
If you're standing inside your house and looking out the front door or the garage, if that's how you enter the house, that's the direction you're facing. So if I'm standing inside my house and I look out, I see the rising sun, that means my house is east facing. So, or if I'm looking standing inside the house, look out the front door, and I'm looking towards north, that's north facing. So that's how you determine the directions.
Okay.
So yeah. So in the northwest area of the house, if you have any cuts, like for example, you have an L-shaped house and this corner of the house is missing, or the garage is sticking out for some reason, then that becomes an extension. Or if there are no windows in the northwest part of the house, that's blocking. And if there's clutter there. So all of those things can affect relationships. Air element is associated with relationships. Northwest area of the house is associated with relationships. And for example, if you just become aware of your breath, if it's very shallow or chaotic, you may be feeling anxious. The breath is very related to how we're feeling. if you're feeling harmonious, the breath is very smooth and rhythmic. So our relationships, our speech, our actions will be more harmonious. So definitely affects relationships.
You know, it's so funny you say that because my wife's office is actually in northwest corner, and she makes she likes working on doll houses.
Cool.
And she has 2 doll houses with all the tools, with everything's like a clutter. And she's been complaining, "Oh my God, I have a hard time breathing right now. Oh, I need to get, like, my sinuses and my allergies are like ramping up." Now I get it.
Yeah, very interesting. So that's the Vastu part. And then in the astrology part, if you have a functional malefic or weak or afflicted moon associated with the northwest, then all the things associated with moon come into play. Now, in mind, emotions, feeling, very vata. Vata is associated with moon, vata dosha. So mother, first son are affected mostly. And the respiratory, like you were saying, she has a hard time breathing. Respiratory, lymphatic system is affected, emotional issues, food allergies, lungs, digestion, hormones, menstrual cycle, sleep is affected, arthritis. All of those things can be affected when you're vata deranged.
Oh my God, it's like you're just reading me right now, because my wife is also having like irregular periods as well.
Yeah.
Ever since she started working on, like, this happened in the last 4 months, she started working on doll houses as a hobby. So right now in her room, she has all these tools, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you gotta clean this clutter." And
yeah.
So it's so funny. This is like, wow.
And definitely affect that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of that, that's true. And then, so in the remedies, so we use, everything is energy. Your feet are planted solidly on the floor and you think it's very solid, but we know if we put the floor under a powerful microscope, it's made of atoms, protons and neutrons and quarks. And at the very subtlest level, it's made of God particles. And even God particles are made of earth, the Pancha Mahabhutas, the earth, water, fire, air, and space. And so if we can balance those 5 elements at a subtle level, then that's the remedy. That's the remedy. So for example, if there's clutter here, the best remedy is to try to get more organized. They always say, if you have a cluttered drawer, take everything out of the drawer, make 3 piles, 1 to save, 1 to give away, and 1 to throw away, and put the ones you're keeping back in an organized way. What happens? We always get more energy. Even clearing out a drawer, a closet, or a room, it affects our energy level. So it affects our ability to focus. And so, so that's the best remedy for that. But on a more subtle level, there's a specific mantra. The Devata mantra are the mantras that I use for the planets. Now, there are lots of different mantras for planets, but the subtlest form and the form that will never harm you is the Devata mantra. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namah is that form that will never harm you. So we don't want to strengthen malefic planets. So we, in traditional Vedic astrology, moon is thought to be a malefic planet. But we know that on certain charts, certain rising signs, moon can be a malefic. If it's a Multicona sign falls in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th, the Dustana houses, then, and for example, and then let's say Cancer, the 4th sign is in the 6th house. Then the ruler of the Cancer becomes malefic, which is moon. So then it can cause harm. We don't want to strengthen it with the traditional moon mantra, but the Devata mantra will not work.
Now, what if, like, somebody, let's say, writes this mantra down and put it on the wall in this particular corner? Does that help, or do you have to recite the mantra in that corner? How it is?
that exactly, putting it on the wall would be very beneficial.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we even do this for babies' rooms, where the baby's having a lot of colic and flatulence and things like that. So we put that mantra there. But another way of doing it is kavach. So this kavach is a wearable yantra. So basically, it's a locket containing the benefic planets that you want to strengthen in your chart, or want to strengthen in your body, depending on your vata dosha type, etc. This is very powerful as well. So we use these yantras. Could be put on the wall, could be visual, but also wearing them on your body is very, very powerful. And then always, moon doing charities for women is very powerful also. Now, on a more gross level, Vastu level, you could hang chimes, anything to do with sound, the bells, chimes, incense, anything to do with that air element in the Northwest is more of the gross rectification. And pictures of clouds and sky also could be utilized. Anything to do with the white or blue colors also, they can be used as accents to do the remedies. So that's kind of the Northwest. So let's move on to the
it's funny, right now I'm sitting in the Southwest of my office is in Southwest.
Okay, let's talk about Southwest. So Southwest, it has to do with earth element. And it has to do with how you support yourself in your life, from your back, your spine, your feet, your knees, and how you support you and yourself and your family, your career. And it's a good place for the master of the house to sleep or to have a study. Definitely not a good place for kids to be, because kids will rule the house. They'll run you ragged.
Yeah, I think they already do.
I go into houses every day where people are telling me, oh, these kids, they're just driving me crazy. They're very, they're very demanding. And it turns out maybe they're sleeping in, maybe not the Southwest, but they're closer to the Southwest than the parents' master bedroom. So so whoever sits in the Southwest has control or sleeps there. So when I designed Microsoft, I put Bill Gates in the Southwest corner. He had more control. He was the CEO. And I do that for all the businesses. So,
I love this. You're making me totally fall in love with Vastu all over again.
I'm so passionate about it. And I'm very grateful you had the opportunity to present it.
I'm so glad Simon referred me to you. This is amazing.
Everybody should have some knowledge.
Yes.
So, in the astrology point of view, Rahu and Ketu are functional malefics for every rising sign, and so they can affect our astrology very deeply. Now, not to say that they're causing harm all the time, because we know, if they're not afflicting anything, then they're benign, and they can give you a great desire and great ambition for your career and for other aspects of your life. But if they are afflicting some other planet or some other house, or their rising, their degree is very close to your rising sign degree, then they can afflict 6 out of your 12 houses, causing trouble at many times, especially when they're transiting at that same rising sign degree. So now the dosha type for earth element is kapha. Kapha people are a little bit slow, and they're very stable, very grounded. They can have weight issues, and so this part of the house affects father, mother, and first son mostly. And it affects, as I was saying, the skeletal system, how we support ourselves, and blood pressure, tumors, immune system, bone cancer, teeth, feet, allergies, ulcers, digestion, spleen area. Remedies for Rahu are Om Namo Bhagavate Vara. Varahadevaya Namaha. We don't put that yantra because we don't want to strengthen Rahu because it's malefic, but doing charities for people who cannot help themselves and using earth tones in that part of the house. In Bill Gates's office, we put some big plants in the southwest corner. He had a lot of windows there, so some expenses were leaking out. All of those things are good. So so those things are helpful to do.
So just by looking at this map, that means that would be my southwest corner now.
Correct.
I should put a plant on this particular area.
Yes.
Okay.
So always when you're doing interior design, you want heavier things in the southwest to hold in the positive solar magnetic financial energy. And in the northeast, which we'll jump to next, we want to put lighter, not so heavy things, tulsi, small tulsi plant, or instead of heavy things. And
I have this bookshelf right in the back.
So that's good. That's in the southwest. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the southwest. Yeah.
Perfect. And you see my bookshelf. It's also in the south area.
Oh, okay.
My room. So yes, we want the heavier bookshelves to protect us, basically. And so let's jump to northeast, because that's the thing that most people are concerned about, the finances. So
okay.
Northeast is the water element. And it has to do with growth in your life, spiritual and material growth. And any missing corner, if you have this corner is missing for some reason, then or there's no windows or doors in the northeast, or there's lots of clutter there. Lots of people believe garage in the northeast is bad. I think it's very good because most people come in through the garage, especially if they're in a colder climate. And so garage is great. It's bringing in lots of prosperity, unless it's cluttered. Because a lot of people just use their garage as, where to put stuff that they don't organize it. It's okay to
Our back porch is right where the northeast is. So that part of house was empty. So I made a back porch with the stairs to go to the backyard.
Okay.
That's a wood porch.
Now, if it doesn't have walls or a roof, then it's still considered a missing corner. And
okay.
We'll talk about how to correct that. So, so there are ways to do the correction, and we'll talk about it. So then remember we talked about, I forgot to talk about in the southwest, if you have any stove or toilet there, earth is reduced by water and fire. So those things can affect your career as well. So in the northeast, water element is affected by stove. As I was saying before, it's like burning money. If you have fireplace, furnace, stove, electrical panel, hot water tank, any of those kinds of things, it's like burning your money, basically. Any clutter there actually affects it as well. So the astrological counterpart is Jupiter. Jupiter is associated with the northeast. So if in your rising sign, Jupiter is a functional malefic, or it's weak or afflicted. When I say weak, it's in less than 5 degrees, young age, or more than 25 degrees, old age, then it becomes weak. Or if its dispositor is weak, planet can be only as strong as its dispositor, for example, if it's weak in some way, or if it's weak in your Navamsa chart also can affect that. So weak or afflicted, Jupiter can affect the prosperity as well. And the dosha type is Kapha. Kapha is, and it affects father and sons mostly. And if your Kapha is deranged, for example, circulatory system, immune system are affected, liver, gallbladder, hips, jaundice, leukemia, throat cancer, brain tumor, obesity, Inability to conceive. I'd say 25% of my clients having trouble conceiving, they come to me. It's a combination. A lot of times these are combination of a dosha, Vastu dosh in the southeast and Vastu dosh in the northeast. And so, because growth, you can't conceive if the growth is blocked for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, cholesterol, diabetes, all
Oh, I apologize. I just realized Northeast actually has a garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yes, that has a garage.
Just make sure your garage is very organized. That doesn't mean you can't have things there, but they should be, the boxes should be in shelves.
Okay.
And so lots of people believe, oh, the car is in the garage, it's very heavy, I shouldn't have anything heavy in the Northeast. It's Ishanya, it's God's corner. That's the best place for puja. That's the best place to have your prayer room. But the car is on 4 points and it's moving. It's moving in and out. It's not permanently. So no Vastu dosha because of that. So remedies, Om Namo Bhagavate Vamana Devaya Nama, the Devata yantra, mantra, Kavach containing that Jupiter yantra, charities for spiritual organizations, helping spiritual organizations. Stray dogs is another one they talk about. But on the grosser Vastu level, yellow colors, because Jupiter is soft yellow, and fountain. Very easy, and this is what we talked about on Dr. Oz. If you have moving water in the Northeast, this will very much help increasing prosperity. So this, little fountain doesn't have to be a big, huge thing, something from Target, you can even just buy a little pump and put it in a bowl with some rocks, as long as that water is moving. And you can place pictures of scenes of lakes and waterfalls and things like that. This also on a grosser level has some effect. So, and now, if for example, I'll tell you how we remedy this missing corner if it was a missing corner. So either we go from the outside, like you said, if this was a deck with a railing, we would use a specific Vastu yantra here and here. Once those two yantras see each other, they create an energetic barrier. And we place two yantras here and here, creating an energy barrier. This fills in the missing corner. Or another way of doing it is, if this is a missing corner, L-shaped house, we would place a yantra here and here so they see each other. They make a separate Vastu energy field here. So you have two separate Vastus, but no more missing corner. So that's how we rectify. And if you have lots of windows in the south and the west where the energy is leaking out, we put those two yantras seeing each other, setting it up an energy barrier so the prosperity stays in the house and doesn't leak out. So I'm just telling you how we do the rectification. Okay. So now let's jump to southeast. So southeast is Agni, the fire element, and it has to do with our energy level. If our energy level is blocked or missing corner or extension, then our energy is low and our health is affected very much. Our immune system gets low, we get lots of illnesses and things are affected. Or if there's an extension here, maybe the garage sticks out, then that Agni goes very high and creates a lot of inflammation in the body. Inflammation is number one cause of all kinds of illnesses. So health is the big thing that's affected by Vastu dosha in the southeast. And that's why I say when you talk about different illnesses created by different things in different parts of the house, it's usually a combination of southeast and some other part of the house. And just like in Ayurveda, you're not one dosha type. You're Pitta Vata, Pitta Kapha, etc. But Pitta is the main thing in the southeast that's affected. Women, second son, are mostly affected by doshas in this area. Endocrine system, reproductive system, exactly, the ability to conceive, renal function, infertility, Crohn's disease, MS, multiple dystrophy, HIV, kidney, liver, diabetes, melanoma, breast cancer. Breast cancer also, combination southeast and northeast, bladder, hormonal issues. So remedy, Om Namo Bhagavate Parasuramaya Namaha, Kavach, Yantra, doing charities for...
When you get a chance after this session, can you write me the mantra and I'll just put it in my text in case people don't know the pronunciation?
Absolutely.
That'll be very helpful. Yeah.
I'll do the phonetics of it so that they can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll put down which each mantra represents, so that'll be helpful for them. Chanting these mantras takes about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Go through all 9 of them, and it's very supportive for your Vastu, for the house, and for the body as well. Okay. So yeah, and they're doing for Mars, you help men that are, for Venus, you help women, that charities for women, so, helping women in your life, it's very important to pacify, for example, if Venus happens to be malefic in your chart. Okay. We don't want to strengthen Venus if it's malefic for some reason, but the mantra will never cause harm. It will only be good. So colors, accent colors of pinks, Himalayan salt lamp in the southeast corner of your office would be good to support that Venus, that the fire element, if it's, if there's some impact there. And scenes of desert, if you wanted to use pictures to support that fire element. So yeah, so those are the main 4 elements in your house. So water affecting finances, the air affecting relationships, the career affected by the earth element in the southwest, and the fire affecting your health. But then there are those sub-doshas.
We actually have this empty space in our home downstairs where the middle part just wood floor with kitchen and living room one side and then sunroom and other living room on the other side.
Perfect.
So, and we just have a dining table there.
Perfect. You're in DC.
Yeah.
I was just there. Next time I come, we'll come.
Oh, yes. Oh, you could have. Oh, my God. When are you going to be here next?
I usually come about every 4 or 5 months. So
okay.
I'll give you a heads up next time.
Yeah, please do.
But because southeast is fire element, kitchen is very good. Now, fire and air are friendly, so you can also have stove in the northwest with no harm. Toilet is the very tricky one. So toilet reduces fire, like clutter, and so toilet can affect health in the southeast. But you can have it. Toilet is no dosha in the northwest, and no dosha in the west part of the house, and no dosha in the south part of the house.
Oh, we have a bathroom in the south part of the house. Right next to my office is...
That's fine. So not causing any harm. If toilet is in the southwest, affects career.
And in north, we have a toilet too.
Then it's affecting finances.
Okay.
So it's water, but it's impure water. So no toilet, that's one big dosha. My teacher, Sri Ravi Shankar, that's the first thing he looks at when we look at the spiritual centers. Is there any toilets there in the northeast? So yeah, big dosha. But easy to correct. There's a specific yantra that we place on the door leading to the toilet and on the toilet itself to get that energy it's unstuck. So just to understand on a very easy level is when you feel tired, sluggish, pain in the body, you go to somebody who understands how energy flows in the body, like chiropractor, acupuncture, marma massage, acupressure, all of those things. Those people understand marma, the meridians are blocked, or the marma point is blocked. So they create some pressure there, releases the energy. They use an acupuncture needle. We in Vastu use these yantras Yantra is for anybody who doesn't understand, it's a physical representation of a mantra or sound. So there are hundreds of mantras, and I can just show, let's see, here are just, one of 100 yantras that we use in Vastu. This is very common to many people. Most familiar yantra is a yantra, Lakshmi. This yantra increases abundance. Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance in your life. So it can be used in the northeast part of the house. It's very effective. But it
has to be made a specific way, or you can just print a picture out and just put it.
Yeah, printing has a good effect, but if the yantra is energized, it has even more power. So you see yantras made of copper, gold, silver. There are crystal Shri yantras that are three-dimensional. All of these all have a good effect. But if it's energized, it's very, very powerful. So the yantras that we use in Vastu are like this. This is a moon yantra, and you see that it has 9 equal squares. Each square has a specific Sanskrit number. And when you add up these numbers diagonally, horizontally, and vertically, they come to a certain coefficient of energy that's related to the dosha that we're trying to correct in that part of the house. That's what gets the energy moving. That's what makes them powerful. And they're transparent. So we try to put them on windows if we can. We can hide them. They're very small. They're like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Nobody ever notices them. I do them for lots of builders around the United States who are trying to, they want a Vastu compliant house to help it sell more quickly. So we hide them, and then we give a Vastu compliant certification for the house. But anyway, when you put them on windows, the light comes through and magnifies the energy. So Vastu comes in many, the yantras come in many forms. I'm just trying to, they use like an acupuncture needle to move, release that energy that's stuck. Do the pearl alignment. So I'm going to give some Vastu tips for your audience. So remember, we talked about Vastu being aligning your physical body and your environment to the 2 forces of nature, the longitudinal and latitudinal lines, the earthly grid system. So I've been involved in lots of different sleep studies in hospitals where they'll take 50 patients who have received similar surgeries. And what we do is we put 25 of the patients with their head towards the south on a south wall, or, the bed headboard towards the south, feet pointing north. The other 25 will put them on a north wall, the head pointing north and the feet pointing south. What they find is, in a very short time, where they're measuring the REM state, the EEGs, they find that the patients with their headboards to the north are not recovering as quickly from the surgery, having more complications than the patients with their headboards to the south. The reason is positive magnetic energy comes from the north. And our body is like a magnet. The positive polarity is in our head. So if we are sleeping with our head on a north wall, it's like bringing 2 positive ends of magnets together. What happens?
Oh, it repel. Yeah.
So it disturbs the blood flow, the circulation, and digestion. And over time, you're not getting good, deep sleep, and it's affecting your health. So, so in these studies, even within a short period of time, in 3 days, they found that the REM state was longer and more cycles for the patients sleeping with their head to the south, and less REM state and shorter cycles for the patients with their headboards sleeping to the north. REM states is how deep you're sleeping. So that's one tip. And then the other tip has to do with, hold on, let me see. To the direction that you face when you are working. So I'm going to ask you what direction you're facing right now.
I'm facing east.
Very good. Me too. So you got that part right. So I've been in lots of double-blind studies where we'll take 100 students with a similar IQ. They study the same materials, they take the same test, and we'll divide them into 4 groups, each facing a different direction. So 25 will face east, 25 will face north, 25 will face south, and 25 will face west. They're all hooked up to EEG machines to measure their brainwaves. So, and I work for the Chopra Center, and we do lots of these experiments there on consciousness and meditation, how it affects you when you meditate different directions. So what they find is so interesting. If you're facing east or north, you do 20% better on the test. And the EEG shows that you are producing an alpha rhythm, which is a harmonic rolling brainwave. If you're facing south or west, you don't have the same stamina, the same focus, and you are producing a beta, chaotic brainwave, which is shown down here. This is the alpha brainwave. So if you're meditating, if you're cooking, if you're sewing, if you're painting or doing music, try to face east if you can, if you're working, you know. Now, another part of this study was so interesting. They found that the kids that face north did better on the left brain analytical part of the test, the math. So something about that magnetic energy from the north supports the left brain activity. And something about the facing east, the solar energy supports the right brain creative part of our consciousness. So
in order to balance them out, one should face maybe like northeast, like both.
That's a great question. Yeah. And everybody asks me that question. You think it'd be the best of both worlds, but it's not true. So the studies have shown it doesn't work like that. You have to be either facing true east or true north. So I have an L-shaped desk. When I pay my bills, I face north. When I do, consultations and working with clients, I face east.
Oh, that's so funny. I have an L-shaped desk myself, man. We're so alike.
Intuitively, you knew. And a lot of people, intuitively, it just feels right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
I do lots of consultations for people with cubicles, like an Oracle, and, lots of big buildings. So, they have these Intel. It's all cubicles. Even the CEO, and way back when I did the consultations there, he even had a cubicle. So we don't have a lot of choices, but we can try the best we can to try to face north or east. There are other things I do in cubicles to help people be more productive. But Microsoft and Amazon, they all ask me to help their people working there to be more productive. So we do lots of things. This is the simplest thing we can do, is to just try to get the direction right, and it helps a huge, huge amount.
Wow.
So, those are a couple of tips that your listeners can utilize. And the other thing is reducing the clutter. If in your life your financial, having pinch in the financial area or health issues, look in the southeast. See if there isn't some closet or that's having some clutter. Try to organize it. That'll help a lot.
Okay.
So what I found in the last 40 years for myself and my clients is 3 things really affect, your life purpose, your success in all areas. One is reducing the stress in the mind and the body through meditation. I've been meditating since I was 16, and I think it's really tremendously helped my life. And then whatever you can do to restress, that's 30%. Then whatever you can do to reduce the stress in your home and work environments, Vastu. And then the third thing is, when we come into this life, all the planets and stars are arranged in a certain way for us to come and learn certain lessons in this big school. And whatever you can do to rectify your chart. Jyotish is, as you've said many times, it's light. It's putting light on your karma, light on your, it's a map of your life. And once you understand, I have afflicted moon, it's affecting my relationships. I have multiple relationships, multiple marriages. if I do the rectification for that moon or whatever other planet's causing you challenges, it makes a huge difference. So, whatever you can do to rectify, improve, reduce your stress by, exercise and activity, eating right and meditating.
Okay.
Reducing the stress in your environment and your astrology makes a huge difference. So, yeah. So any other questions that you might have?
No, actually, I was going to just come up to this page where I was going to ask if people wanted to get a reading from you, consultations from you regarding their home, where can they go?
Yeah, so they can just contact me at michaelmastrovastu@gmail.com. Our website is vastucreations.com.
Okay.
We have lots of yantras and products there. And then I teach people to do what I do at AmericanInstituteOfVastu.com. Basically, I would offer your listeners a 20% off. So I do Vastu for people all over the world every day. They just send me a quick little, it doesn't have to be fancy, little sketch of their unit, their apartment, their house. And from that, I can recommend the yantras and send them with instructions. And so I offer 20% off to your listeners if they contact me directly. Don't go through the website.
I'm telling you, they will, because this is like the greatest Vastu lesson I've had personally ever.
Yeah.
You made it so simple, so easy that I'm just like, wow, I want to get into Vastu now, more deep.
Yeah, and we have some books that my wife, I can't do anything without her. She's just a brilliant writer. So she wrote The Way of Vastu, where we get lots of Vastu tips.
Okay.
And we utilize Vastu to make altars that are manifesting for health, etc. And that's a tabletop kind of beautiful book. And then the last book that Simon and Schuster had her write, got to pick the name, is Making Room for Mr. Right, but it's misleading. It's about how to create more love in your life using Vastu and astrology and different things. So yeah, any other questions?
No, actually, you did mention it, because I was going to ask you, what if like somebody wanted to get those, the energized yantras to remedy their corner. So you actually have that on your site.
Yes, they have them on the website, but just like anything else, knowing where to place them and when to place them, it's all about auspicious timing, everything.
Okay.
It's better to get the actual online consultation.
Perfect. Well, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I can't believe I almost was late to this interview, but this is absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Thank you again for the opportunity, and maybe we can do another interview soon.
Oh, you bet.
Go more deeply.
Anytime you want it. Absolutely. I'm here. Thank you so much, Michael.
Okay, thank you so much, Kapiel.
Bye-bye.